Hey guys, Sandan here. This is gonna be my chapter review to My Hero Academia and Nanatsu no Taizai. This is One Punch Man, 124 and 125. So let's get right down to it. These chapters were really good. I enjoyed them. They were funny. They had awesome action. We even got to see Saitama. Everything we needed, we got in these chapters. Apart from one part, which Grim, go check out the podcast, by the way, the One Punch podcast. Grim would be very. He would agree with this because he mentioned it in the podcast and we had a whole discussion point around it. But I'll get back to that and the final attack kind of thing. So the first chapter, 124, New Fubuki Group. So it starts off and we see Rover firing off a whole bunch of these cannons straight towards Bang, Bomb, and Fubuki. And shit's exploding. You see the environment has completely been changed. They've kind of the Monster Association has this kind of beehive type of structure in the sense of there's so many corridors interlinking and going through these different floors that it looks essentially like a beehive if you would take a cross section of it. And Overgrown Rover has blown up so much shit that there's just this one central core with everything else having been blown out. And it just looks insane. Like when you look at that, you realize what Overgrown Rover is capable of. But what I was more impressed by here than anything was that Bang and Bomb, they're dodging all these attacks. That's what I expect of those guys. That's what I expect of them. Fubuki is keeping up with them. She seems to be struggling a hell of a lot more, but she's keeping up with them, dodging all of these attacks, making sure that she doesn't get one of her limbs blown off or something like that. She's surviving. So I was surprised by her physical ability because we already know that her psychic ability is going to not. Well, it's getting stronger and stronger the more that she's utilizing it. But her physical ability is what impressed me. They take a small detour and they hide away from Overgrown Rover. Bomb here realizes like that dog is making a big mess of things, but he realizes he's already injured. He's like, yo, shit, I can see some blood coming off the dog. He's already injured. We should make use of this opportunity. Meanwhile, while he's kind of positive, identifying small things, you see Fubuki. She's in complete shock. She's shitting her pants. She's like, I've never seen a monster of this level. This is the first dragon type monster she's probably ever encountered, I think. And she says, what the hell are we supposed to do, this guy? She's sweating her ass off. And this is where when we come to the final attack, this is going to be my main kind of argument, in the sense of Fubuki she's in desperation mode. She is fight or flight, and she's in both. Like she's not even in fight mode. She's in flight mode, adrenaline rushing. She's surviving. Whereas Bang and Bomb look so comfortable, so lax, so relaxed. In this situation that I just don't ever get that sense of fear from the two of them in this fight against Overgrown Rover. So Bang here, he's like, it's probably one of the Monster Association's strongest members, and it looks like now's a good time to take it down. Fubuki, once again, she starts complaining, like she's very, very, I wouldn't say she's in shock, but she's very pessimistic about the outcome of this. Not because she's a pessimist by nature, but because the situation is put in a mind frame of we're going to die. So she's pissed off and like saddened by the fact that they've split up from King. Bang's more I love how Bang's just like, yo, no point moping over it. We need you to back us up. We need your support. So let's go do this. They lose sight of Overgrown Rover. He smashes through the wall next to them and he prepares this giant cannon at point blank range. So I'm not sure what would have happened here, because this is the first time that Bang and Bomb look surprised, like, oh shit. And you can imagine, like in the anime, this is going to be one of those moments where Bang just turns around and he's going to be like, yabe. And I'm not sure what would have happened here if Fubuki hadn't essentially coated them all in a very thin Susanoo. This part reminded me that this part was a straight shout out to Naruto Shippuden. Because we have Bang and Bomb. The reason why I'm talking about this is Bang and Bomb get ready to try and deflect this cannon that Overgrown Rover has just shot at them, and Fubuki's behind them. She sets up this she projects this kind of thin coating of her telekinesis. I'm not even sure what you'd call it. Her psychic powers. She sets up like a thin coating around each of them, and it's very, very reminiscent of, not in appearance but in terms of effect, the defensive capabilities as Susanoo in Naruto Shippuden, which is the Uchiha ability, the ability of the Sharingan to summon that skeletal kind of figure around them that has a sword. Itachi's had the Yamata mirror, I think. No, he had the sword, he had the mirror, everything. So it was very reminiscent of that in terms of its defensive capabilities. But I'm not sure. I think maybe Bang and Bomb would have been able to deflect it anyhow, possibly taking some damage. Anyway, huge explosion, and you see that Bang and Bomb, they come out completely unscathed. But actually, if Bang comes out saying he's surprised by the fact, and so is Bomb, but that they're completely unscathed, then I assume that they would have taken damage because of that point blank range. So Fubuki here pretty much saves the entire squad. Fubuki putting the team on her back, which is why her back goes out later. She couldn't carry the team for as long as she was, but they're surprised that they're unscathed. So pretty much, I think it's guaranteed that they would have been hurt to some extent. So Fubuki here explains, without my projection just now, there'd be nothing left of you. You guys owe me. And like I said, it's very reminiscent of Susanoo, and it's very reminiscent of Amaterasu in the sense of Fubuki's bleeding from her left eye. She starts bleeding from her nose. I thought this was it was funny because you don't see Fubuki in this kind of very grotesque, well, not even grotesque, in this very beaten state where she's bleeding from every orifice of her face. She's always the kind of, how would you say this, the piece that's good to look at, the character that's always drawn well, at the very least. But she's bleeding from her left eye as if she just used Amaterasu. She starts bleeding from her nose because of the strain and the strenuous nature of having utilized this projection around 3 different individuals against a very powerful attack. So you can see that Fubuki, like I said, is putting the team on her back and is impressing 2 S-class, one an S-class hero and one just an S-class martial artist. But she's really, really impressing them with her courage and her ability. So then Overgrown Rover pops up above them on this mountain of rubble, and he's looking down at them, ready to absolutely destroy them. And this is something else that impressed me about Fubuki. I was like, this is cool. This is so well done in terms of how her character is progressing from a hero standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, and from the standpoint of just this person who seems to have had a complex of being weaker than her sister. So she sees that Overgrown Rover is about to blow shit up. And I love that Bang and Bomb's faces are blacked out. Because with Bang and Bomb there, I was never really concerned to an extent. Bang and Bomb, they're such weathered fighters that even if it got to a situation where they were probably going to die, they probably wouldn't be sweating it. They'd just be like, we just got to do the best we can do. If we die, we die, see you later. But Fubuki is there. Because she's relatively inexperienced compared to these 2 aged warriors. She still has that same thing that Saitama would have had when he initially started fighting monsters, which is he's clinging to life. And that's what she's doing right now. She's clinging to life, just trying to stay alive, trying to protect people, trying to be a hero. Whereas Bang and Bomb are more down the Saitama way, the current Saitama direction, in the sense of, a fight doesn't have that same thrill of them clinging to life anymore. So she identifies here, like the blood's still coming out from her nose, still coming down through her from her eye. She realizes, I can't run away, and she starts to, in her mind, she's monologuing, apologize to the new Fubuki group, saying, we've just recruited some strong new members, we were about to rebuild the group, but the leader is going to be gone and I feel inadequate. So what does she do? Instead of chickening out and running, or instead of collapsing or something like that, she literally takes the team on her back one more time and says, look, as the leader of the group, this is what I can do. So she says to Bang and Bomb, listen, I love how she addresses them as you 2 of the new Fubuki group, as if they're already part of the group, even though it's really the Saitama group and she's just a part of it. She doesn't really realize. And I love the faces that Bang and Bomb are making here. They're just kind of looking back at Fubuki like, who are you talking to? Like, they're just, their eyes are blacked out. They know what their capabilities are, and I think that's the big thing about this, which is capability. Both Bang and Bomb are very aware of the capabilities and their limits, right? Whereas Fubuki has no idea what they can do, and she's also aware of her limits, but her limits are far lower than theirs. Not saying that she's not growing at an exponential rate compared to them, because they've already mastered, and once you reach that point of experience and skill, it becomes harder and harder the more skillful you become to explode in skill as fast as you did in the beginning. It's like when you go to the gym, you make all your newbie gains really quickly, but in order to get wham and like very densely muscular, that's continuous work over years, as opposed to the first like 5-10 kg of muscle you put on through your first year of training. Same exact thing. So she says to them, I'm going to put one more shield around you guys, look for an opportunity to escape. And she says, this will also reinforce your body, so you should be able to move a little bit faster, but the effect is temporary. And here you realize that Bang and Bomb, they just say, oh shit. So Bomb's there looking at his left leg, he's like, actually it feels pretty good, the pain in my knee is gone. And Bang's there like, oh yeah, actually the pain in my lower back, that's gone too. They get shot at, 3 cannons straight towards them. Fubuki actually pulls or pushes Bomb away from her, or behind her, saying to them, now get moving. And you can see the veins in her neck and her face. She's channeling all her power, and she's pretty much screaming at this point. So she is at this point, if it was any of the people behind her, she was going to sacrifice herself in order to save 2 other people. And 2 other people who should be stronger than her. She doesn't know about Bomb here, but she knows that Bang's stronger than her, and she was ready to sacrifice her life to save him. She was channeling all her energy into the shield and into being a shield for her comrades. I thought this was very respectful, very honorable of Fubuki, and as a leader of the new Fubuki group, even though it's the Saitama group, I thought she did a very good job of taking on the mantle of this is my responsibility. I thought that was a very good character progression from Fubuki. But then we get the bad boys wake up. Both Bang and Bomb slap the shit out of these cannons and just deflect them way behind themselves, blowing up the world behind them. And you see Fubuki here start to pee her pants a little, realizing just who she's in the presence of. So she looks over at Bang, and Bang's like, yo, thank you for returning the sharpness to my fists. And I was like, oh, this is going to be sick. What are they going to do? So they then unleash an awesome attack on Rover with the Whirlwind Water Stream. A beautiful double spread of basically Bomb on the left side of Rover, Bang on the right side of Rover. It's called Crossfang Dragon Slayer Fist. And they absolutely just deck Rover with multiple hits on both sides. Just kind of, I'm not sure how much damage this actually did considering the start of the next chapter. But my issue with this was, Grimm's main issue with this was, it didn't look as fantastical. It didn't look as devastating as the Aura Fist that they used against Elder Centipede, which broke its carapace and stuff like that. This, even though a very beautiful double spread, this was meant to be a more powerful attack. So Rover just tanked a more powerful attack, spoiler alert, and it didn't look like a more powerful attack. And I have to agree with Grimm in the sense that, yeah, it doesn't look like a more powerful attack. We know it is, but it doesn't look it. So will there be a redraw or anything like that? I don't think so, because if this is how one pictured the attack, in the sense of, it's an attack where you buffet, or is it buffet? Buffet is where you eat, where you're buffeting this one individual, this one enemy from both sides. It's not going to have like explosions and shit. This is a purely concentrated external, internal injury based attack. Whereas the other one against the Aura Fist, against Elder Centipede, that had so much strength behind it that it knocked back such a big creature that it looked so fantastical. It looked amazing. But it's because of its knockback power. I'm pretty sure if they used this against the Elder Centipede, it would have had just as much destructive power. But that was also a one-shot attack, if I remember correctly, whereas this is a multitude of attacks. So they're very different attacks, and very situational, very scenario-based attacks, very situational, like I said. But you can see the impact, especially from Bang's perspective. You see this kind of sound, almost as if he's breaking, like it's like this what's it called, sonic boom kind of thing around his attack and around Rover, showing you the impact. But because of the situation, it doesn't look as fantastical as Elder Centipede's. But you have to remember, Elder Centipede was so much larger, and because of the knockback capability of the Aura Fist, it just looked so much better. Anyway, that was the end of that chapter. Really enjoyed it. We then go into the next chapter, which is 125, called Sit. Fubuki. We can continue straight from the last chapter. Fubuki had pretty much peed her pants at this point. She looking at how powerful Bang and Bomb are. Bang and Bomb finish off their attack on Rover by kicking him through the ground, and then they land in synchrony, looking awesome as shit, Power Ranger style. Fubuki, like I said, continues to pee her pants, full bladder at this point. And she's like, holy shit, these guys just defeated it. She's sweating buckets now. Like, she's in a cold sweat thinking about... I've heard stories about how powerful Bang is, but they're just stories. We don't actually have any definition for how strong this guy is. Does he have any limits, considering he's knocked the shit out of the strongest monster I have ever seen in my life? And the point I want to make here is, they obviously put a lot of strength and a lot of power, a lot of strain through their bodies to initiate and to execute that attack. However, both of them don't look like they put 100% of their effort in. And even though Bomb later on says, this is our super special secret technique, I'm losing confidence because we used a secret technique against Elder Centipede that did nothing, and we used a special technique against Rover that's done nothing. So it's a knock to his confidence. But I'm like, but did you both really put like, this is our final attack, 100% power? Because neither of them they're not sweating, they don't look like they've hurt themselves trying to do it. It doesn't look like a final attack kind of thing. It's not like a final flash kind of thing. It's not like Gohan's final Kamehameha against I'm not sure why two Dragon Ball Z references against Cell. It's not like Luffy's King Kong gun, where you knew that was the final attack, and he's putting a lot of effort into it, a lot of strain. This looked like a very strenuous attack, and they put a lot of strength behind it, but it didn't look like 100%. To me, it looked like, just judging by their reaction afterwards, it looked more around a 75% capacity. Anyway, Fubuki, her reaction here is pure gold. So she's absolutely in cold sweat because of the power that she's seen displayed in front of her. But she's more impressed by... Well, she's not more impressed. She's equally impressed by Bang's elder brother, Bomb. And I love how she just turns around and she's like, speaking of, and her mouth goes missing, and it's just her huge eyes looking at Bomb. And she's like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he's meant to be his elder brother, but if I remember correctly, he's not a hero. But his strength rivals that of someone like Silver Fang. Who the frick is this guy? And why is he just out here? Is it possible that I've identified and discovered an absurdly powerful talent that I could recruit to the new Fubuki group? So then you see this darkness emanating from Fubuki, and she's considering, and then she's like, I can't miss this opportunity. I need to get him in the Fubuki group at all costs. So I love how she has a gleam next to her eye. She's cleaned up some of the blood somehow, and she turns to Bomb and she's like, I must say, I'm mighty impressed by the feats that you've just performed. And Bomb, obviously being the elder citizen he is, and being just a martial artist, he doesn't really care much for Fubuki in the sense of how she looks, which I know a lot of you dogs are probably very, very focused on. But he's more focused on the fact that, this young lady has this much potential. She was willing to sacrifice herself. She really helped us out. Awesome support and awesome leadership qualities in her. So he's more appreciative of those things rather than her physical appearance. And he was just like, yeah, likewise, you performed incredibly well. So I love this part of the chapter. She's like, oh, there's one thing I forgot to tell you. And then she's like doing this kind of like evil this evil overlord kind of thing, like trying to recruit you into the dark side kind of thing. She's like, the special bonus for joining the Fubuki group, at the moment, it's a 3 kg special beef set. I was like, yo, this girl, she's like, she's in the struggle right now. She's doing an offer that Saitama would do. It's what's the offer for joining my crew? It's a hot pot, So I really love that she has nothing more to offer than a 3 kg special beef set. And because it's a prime time deal, it's a special bonus seasonal deal right now. Anyway, Rover gets back up like instantly, and he looks happy, he looks fine. And Bang and Bomb, Bang is less concerned about it. Bomb is more annoyed by it, and he's like, yo, shit, like, how's this thing still lively? Bang's just like, what an annoying little bitch. Just sit and behave. What I loved about this, beside Rover's surprise, was was Fubuki's surprise. She turns around, so you see Bang and Bomb getting ready to like start kicking ass. Fubuki just turns around in complete horror, and her face is completely changed. All of the beauty has been taken from her, and she's like, "No, please, God, no!" I was laughing my ass off at that. Anyway, Bang he says the key word, which is sit, and you see the onomatopoeia as well. You see that what's his face, Rover is surprised by this command, and he just sits down. And we weren't sure in the podcast whether this was because of experience, having been told by Gato to sit and getting punched in the head, having been told by Saitama to sit and getting knocked out, and then having been told by Bang to sit. Is it something he's learned, or is it something that he already knew but just never had the not really the fear but the obedience to do until Saitama punched him? So he sits down. Bomb is like, he's confused and he's a little bit hurt. His pride is hurt. He's like, that was a special secret joint technique, You'd think it would have had some effect. You see here Fubuki's legs have just given out, her back's given out, and that's the end of their scene. I really, really enjoyed that. We then go to Tatsumaki, who is aware of the fact that Fubuki is here due to the raise in power. She detects an Esper, and she's like, yo, this power is Fubuki, why is she here? So she's pissed off that her younger sister is here. She's going to give Second God a piece of her mind later. And we go to Saitama and Flashy Flash, who are in this kind of mining cart, and they're going on this railway track, essentially. According to this monster, they're going to the Monster King's palace. And the way that the monster here agrees with Flashy Flash, like Flashy Flash is like, hey, how long is it gonna take to go to the Monster King's palace? And he's like, about 10 minutes. I'm just like, somehow I don't think you're gonna go to the Monster King's palace. I think they're just being taken further and further away from the center of the Monster Association, but we don't really know that. Anyway, Flashy Flash is preparing himself for like the match of the millennium. This is going to cement my name in history. I'm going to be the greatest shinobi, the greatest ninja to have ever existed. I'm going to be Hokage someday. Whereas Saitama's more concerned about the fact that he's just like, yo, this is so fun. Like, if I had realized that there'd been some shit like this beneath my house, I would have been down here every day. We would have been going down this roller coaster every single day. So then they, while Saitama turns around, he's talking to Flashy Flash, they approach this next vertical shaft with the rail still going down it. And it's basically like the drop section of a roller coaster. And I love the drawing here because they're all sweating it out as soon as they see the drop. And then Saitama just starts enjoying it. And Flashy Flash is just like, why the hell are you enjoying this so much? We see here Giro, one of her eye camera things, is watching all of this go down, and I'm just like, Giro shouldn't have the time to be watching any of this. Giro is getting telekinetically bound and telekinetically kicked up the booty right now by Tatsumaki. But Tatsumaki seems to have taken a little break while she noticed Fubuki had joined the fight in the Monster Association. So maybe in this lull period, instead of like running for her life, Giro thought, oh, okay, I'll just take a look through this camera, which seems to have been activated. Anyway, this monster was gonna take both Saitama and Flashy Flash off the railroad and off basically a cliff and kill two S-Class heroes. He was hoping in that way. First off, there are no S-Class heroes which would die just by falling like that, especially someone as nimble and as quick as Flashy Flash. But Saitama, he's not going to fall off and die anyway. He'd fall off and fall continuously probably, but he wouldn't die. Anyway, the monster's just looking down over the shaft with Saitama, and he's like, "Ooh, that's quite the drop." So he loses the courage to be able to do that, and he decides, nah, maybe I'll just wait for another opportunity to do something like that. That's how the chapter ends. I think most of this was, for me, it was showing Fubuki's growth as a leader character and her strength, and it also showed to me that maybe there's more to Bang and Bomb in terms of pure destructive power, because they didn't seem to be putting in as much effort as I thought they could be, but then again, this was them feeling loose. This was them feeling as powerful as they have done in a long time, with no knee pain, no back pain. So maybe they were going as all out as they possibly could. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of these to reviews, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys. Oh, definitely go check out the One Punch podcast if you want pure insane opinions on One Punch Man and just appreciation of Murata's work and of One's work. Definitely go check that out. You'll enjoy it. I enjoy it. Check it out. So all that good stuff again, and I'll see you guys in a bit.